Hello, dear tea friends from around the world. Welcome to a new tea class with me, Stéphane Erler. I'm the founder of the Tea Masters blog and the tea-masters.com tea boutique. This semester we are studying 10 teas that I've sampled, and we start with the Jinxuan Oolong from Alishan. This is a tea that you can find in my tea boutique, tea-masters.com, and you can also find the sampler of all the teas we are studying this semester under the category sampler for the semester 24-25. We are making this a very easy class. I've checked lots of sources to prepare, and I hope that you will enjoy the information and also the practice how to brew this tea. So we start Jinxuan Oolong from Alishan. Let's start with the beginning. What is Jinxuan? Jinxuan is the name of a tea given by Dr. Wu Zhengduo in 1981. He's the director of the Taiwan Research and Extension Station, a public tea research institute, and he came up with this tea, which got the name Jinxuan and also the number 12. So it's also named Taiwan tea number 12. This is like the most beginning information that you will find everywhere. I'll give you a bit more information because we are an advanced class. So what is interesting, this tea is also known as number 2027. This was its code name or code number before it was officially released. So lots of tea farmers, they know this tea much more by its code name 2027 or simply 27. And Jinxuan is the name of Dr. Wu Zhengduo's grandmother. So he gave this name in honor of his grandmother. It does not have any other poetic significance, even though Jinxuan sounds very, very nice. What else can we say about this tea? This tea, this creation, how did he create this tea? Actually, he bred this tea from two different other teas. One is the Yingzhi Hongxin, and the other one is Tainong number 8, tea number 8, from the catalog of the Taiwan Research and Extension Station. So this Jinxuan Oolong is bred from these two genes of tea cultivars, Yingzhi Hongxin as the father and the number 8 as the mother. What are the characteristics of Jinxuan? Jinxuan is tea that is suitable for making baozong and oolong tea. We are going to see very soon what oolong means. The leaves of Jinxuan are rather large. Let's have some from an earlier brew. We can see they are the shape, rather large leaves. The serration, the edges of the leaves are quite easy to see. Quite the dents are easy to identify, and these large leaves help the farmers to have larger yields also. So it's also a tea that is easy to manage. It's very suitable also to use in an organic environment because the cultivar is naturally quite resistant to pests, and farmers like it because it is easy to farm, and you can get high yields. And for the consumers, what is interesting, it has very little bitterness. You can brew it for quite a long time. The taste won't be too much overwhelming, and at the same time, the smells are quite refined, quite They can, in the low oxidation process, they can be quite refreshing, very green, flowery, and so very suitable for the kind of tea that became more and more popular in the 1980s, lighter, fresher oolongs. I think we have covered now the word Jinxuan. Let's go to the next word, Oolong. Oolong in Chinese means dark dragon. The Chinese veers very much into poetry, especially if it's an older word. Oolong, this name was coined in the 17th century in Fujian, in the Hui Mountains. That's where the first oolongs were invented and made. And this is a new tea family, a new tea category. We know the first tea category was green tea, teas that are completely unoxidized, oxidation zero. We know about black or red teas, they have a full oxidation, oxidation 100%. And oolong is this interesting and very complex tea family because the oxidation level is between 0 and 100. So an oolong, by definition, is a tea that has been processed with a partial oxidation, and it can also be roasted. It can get a light, a medium, or a strong roast. Now, in this case, we see that this is no roast at all, or very, very light roast. But there are oolongs that are more roasted, like the Hui Yansha, that were the first oolongs. They were quite roasted. Now, okay, we are almost through our definition of Jinxuan Oolong from Alishan. What is Alishan? Alishan is the name of one of the most famous mountain in Taiwan. That's also in this mountain that in this area that you can find Taiwan's highest mountain, which is called Yushan, the Jade Mountain. Alishan is very well known thanks to some songs. It is known all over China even, and it was very popular during the Japanese colonization. They built a railroad through the mountains in order to access the mountain area, and especially they were more, at that time they were not interested yet in the tea, they were more interested in the large trees that were growing in the Alishan area and that were necessary to make these large temples. These as they were used as beams for the construction of large temples. So Alishan is a mountainous area. This tea actually comes from the Juefeng village. It's technically in the Meishan County, but the farmers, they prefer to use the name Alishan, which is much more famous, and is actually it's part of the greater Alishan region. Meishan, by the way, we are between Jiai and Alishan. This is the original birthplace of high mountain oolongs. So here we get to define what is a high mountain oolong. High mountain oolong starts at 1,000 meters of elevation. What is really very important for mountain oolongs is this threshold of 1,000 meters above sea level. And this qualifies for this tea because this was harvested at a level of 1,100 meters above sea level. The importance of high mountain oolong is the freshness and the different climate that you find in the high mountains, especially in spring and in winter, the two regions, the two seasons where you get the largest difference between daytime temperatures and nighttime. During the day, the warmth of the sun helps the leaves to grow rather large, as we can see. And at night, the freshness and also some clouds that come already in the afternoon, they help to cool down and keep these leaves very, very fresh, even though they are quite developed. And so even though they look quite mature, they are still very, very supple and remain very, very fresh and also keep their freshness. So High Mountain Oolong from Alishan, and this one was harvested on March 28th of this year, 2024. And like most 99% of the High Mountain Oolongs, it was picked by hand. This we can see at the place where the stem is cut. We can see that the cut is not it looks much more torn than cut actually. It's not neat, it's a bit torn on the edges. And this is a sign that it was harvested by hand. And the hand harvest ensures, compared to a machine harvest with knives that cut the leaves very quickly, by hand, you make sure that you are not cutting the leaves, that you are preserving them whole, and that you are only cutting the stem, so a little cut, and this reduces the astringency of the tea. Because for these high mountain plantations, this is where you get the best quality of leaves in Taiwan, because the mountain areas are far away from cities, so they are far away from pollution, and they benefit from the cleanest, freshest, brightest air, and also from the mountain springs, very clean water. So with good water, good air, good natural soil, and that is, there was never any industry in the high mountains, it's not suitable for this. These are the best conditions for making great tea, and because of that, we give them better treatment by picking them by hand. So this is as good as it gets in terms of process. The oolong process is the most difficult, thanks to this partial oxidation level and maybe sometimes roasting that I was telling first. And also the location is top location in the mountains. It has the best climate possible, and it is harvested by hand, processed by hand. Usually it's small families that handle certain areas, several families in each village, and they are making small batches of very great tea. Now let's go to the brewing. Now you see, usually I would brew with this Gaiwan. This is what we'll do in the later classes this semester. But for the very first class, I wanted to introduce you to another method that can be used everywhere. I guess everybody has a mug, a porcelain mug, and a little plate. We are going to use this a bit like a Gaiwan, and I'm going to teach you how to do this. So we start by preheating the mug with our water. We fill it maybe halfway through with water, boiling water, preferably mineral water that has not been that is quite low in minerals. It should not be a heavy water. Some cities, I remember like New York, their water is very, very heavy. So it's better to get mineral water that is going to be much lighter in taste and much more suitable for this type of oolong. So you see, I've covered my mug with my little plate. If you have a little cup, this can also come in handy, but we'll show that it's also possible to drink directly from the mug. So let's wait until we feel that the little plate is getting hot on top, and then we'll be ready to brew our tea. How much tea should we brew? That's always a good question. Now, to make it easy, I'll give you a rule, not by measuring how many grams. Not everybody has a weight on hand. Actually, there's an easier way, is by the site, especially if you are outside, if you are with friends who don't have all your Gong Fu Cha material. You simply go to their kitchen, you find one mug or several. Now it's warm enough. Hop, I can preheat a bit my cup. The rest I throw away. And I look at the bottom of my mug and I try to fill it loosely. It should not be overcrowded. One layer is really enough. Yeah, like this, that's enough. So I did not even put all my leaves. I just fill one layer of leaves. And now I don't want to fill it to the top. I try to fill as high as I feel large. So maybe halfway through. And I will pour, after a pause here, I will pour with some strength on the side so that I create a swirl. Yes. Okay, the tea has danced. It is still turning. I put my little plate on top and I wait. In the meantime, I put my leaves back in my jar. These are leaves from a previous brew. What we can also see is the level of oxidation. I told you high mountain oolongs usually are lightly oxidized, and we can see this from these leaves. They are very, very green, except on the edges you will see some red colors a bit on the edges. During the shaking, when we are drying the leaves, during the process of making the oolong, the leaves hurt each other, and it's especially on the edges that they start to oxidize. Here we have a good example of the leaves getting a little bit red on the edges. I hope you can see it. And we can see also that this is a leaf that was harvested with 2 leaves and a bud. A very classic way of picking the leaves. 2 leaves and a bud. And where the large leaves and the serration. Now, so we, since these leaves are rolled or pressed, they need some strength to open up. That's why we preheated the mug, and that's why also we used strength by pouring the water on top of them. Now let's check if they have opened up. Yes, they have opened up already quite nicely. I'm not so sure you can see, but if you do it at home, I'm sure you will see, if you have followed my instructions well, that the leaves have completely opened up. Now, if you have a little cup, you may pour some in your little cup, or you can wait. This will, of course, a larger volume of boiling water will take a bit longer to cool down than this kind of shallow cup, which is quite open in diameter. Very pleasant, fresh smell. It has no bitterness. And as you drink it, of course, especially in the mug, since we keep the leaves inside, they are going to continue to brew, and the brew will become stronger and stronger. As you think that the brew is a bit too strong for you, what you do, you add some water to your mug, and like this you are able to drink as you go, and it will continue to brew, so get more flavors out of the leaves. So you might be able to drink several mugs by simply always adding a bit hot water on your leaves. Okay, please let me know if you have any problems with this way of brewing. Did you get a nice brew for these leaves? What do you realize will try to do a comparison with a different cultivar next time. So it will be even more telling the specific taste of Jinxuan compared to this other cultivar, which is Jinxuan Oolong. These are the two cultivars that we mostly find in the high mountain oolongs. And Jinxuan being the one that goes slightly above 1,000 meter, but for the really very high elevations, that's where we will find Jinxuan Oolong much more than Jinxuan. But Jinxuan is also one of the cultivar we find in high mountain oolongs, especially just at this threshold of 1,000 meters. And it's thanks to its higher yields, it's one of the most affordable high mountain oolong. This tea, for instance, is only $4.80 for 25 grams. That's $24 for 150 grams. Really super affordable for such a level of quality, handpicked from the best season, from a genuine Jinxuan, and from Alishan, the high mountain. And the taste, even with this very simple method, using a mug, I'm blown away how good it tastes. Now, really, it's up to you how you find your tea, if it's strong enough or not. I like it light. I also can like it when it's a bit stronger, but the nice thing, it does not become bitter. And if you think it's a little bit too strong, just add a little bit of water. That's a very simple way of learning to appreciate tea. Of course, you get more control with the Guy one and by completely emptying your brew each time you make one brew. But like this, it gets you also to understand how, with time, the tea changes as it brews longer and longer, and especially the advantage of this tea, its main quality is that it's not getting bitter. Okay, thank you very much. I'm checking on if there are any questions. I don't see any questions so far on the chat. I hope that I was clear enough with my explanations today. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you next week for another class. Give me a thumbs up if you've liked this lesson. Share it with your friends, especially if you have friends who are interested in trying loose leaves of high quality like this Jinxuan for the first time. This is a video you can send them. It will give them all the explanations they need, and a very simple method to brew, even with a simple mug at home or at work. Thank you very much. Oh, hello, Terry. Is it rude to pour hot tea into a saucer to cool? My grandmother did that with hot coffee. Uh, Saucer, you mean like this as a saucer? Right? I would not say that it's rude, just it's not so practical. I would, it's because it's really so shallow. Since it's very shallow, it will cool down faster. This is indeed one advantage, but I'm afraid it would be a little bit more tricky to get it back in a cup. So I would rather advise a bowl to transfer it. If you're at home, nothing is rude. If I'm not if I'm not watching, if you're doing it by yourself, this is for practical matters, of course, one way. If you are the way we do it usually is transferring directly from the guy one into the smaller cups. This is how the tea cools faster. Of course, it's definitely a more elegant way. I understand the idea of the shallow saucer, but I'm a little bit more afraid to create a mess afterwards because it might be a bit too shallow to handle. Okay, thank you very much, Terry, for this remark, and I'm glad that you enjoyed the class. Cheers. And yeah, have a great Sunday. I'll see you next Sunday again for another class. It will be a surprise. I've not decided on the subject, either tea pairing or a tea book. We'll see. Bye bye.